on the building. It's a true foundation. I'm holding up the blood. I'm working on the building. It's a true foundation. I'm holding up the blood. I'm working on the building. It's a true foundation. I'm holding up the blood.
Welcome to the Under Construction Podcast. Join us as we discuss various topics meant to challenge your current ways of thinking. We have an interesting conversation for you guys tonight, but before we do that, let's introduce the crew. First off, we have Cordell.
What up?
AJ, KJ, and I'm T-Dub. Tonight we're going to be talking about the cost of healing.
Yeah.
The cost of healing. Interesting topic. Interesting topic because in order to get some results, you got to put something into it, and there's a cost to anything. And when it comes to healing, what does it really cost? Thoughts?
I mean, one of the first things I think is like, for me, transparency and accountability from within. Like, you know what I mean? Like self-inventory.
Sure.
Like, it's like, I can't, like, maybe before it would be denial, but at this age and at the level that I'm at and trying to go to going forward, if I want to truly heal from something, I have to be willing to acknowledge whatever part I played in it,
Right.
as well as acknowledge, just everything that I could have done better and everything that I may have allowed into my space or whatever the case may be to be able to be better going forward.
Yeah, for sure. I like that word acknowledgement because in order to heal or grow or increase in any way, you have to know that there's a level that you can reach that you haven't attained yet, right? So you have to be able to be self-aware enough to acknowledge that. Thoughts on you?
Oh, healing takes work. It's the cost is going to be work and time. You got to put in some work to heal because there's some stuff that was out of our control. There's some stuff, to your point, that we couldn't really fix, and we're going to have to put in some work to kind of get back that trust, that level of love, that level of patience, the things that you kind of lost, but you also got to give yourself time to develop those things because you might get frustrated about it because you're like, yo, why can't I do this thing anymore? It's because a part of you broke, a part of you got hurt. And because of that, our natural self wants to protect us. Like, I want to protect me. So that's why these things or these barriers are put in the way. It's a form of protection. So you got to figure out how to kind of take those things down, leave some that are supposed to be there for boundaries there, but also recognize some stuff that you might overdo.
When I think about the topic of a cost of healing, that word cost is it highlights something to me because that means you have to give something up, right?
Yes.
If it costs something, I mean, you have to substitute it with the purchase, right? So I would look at it as, what am I willing to use as a purchase to gain healing? And that can be a lot of different things, you know what I mean? And I think that, and then what am I gaining, right? Because it's a transaction. Something costs something, I got to give the money, and then I get what I want in return. The question is, do we have enough money? Are you even ready to a lot of people say they want healing, but they don't even have the currency to get the healing. You know what I mean? So those are the things that I think about when it costs the healing, because healing is not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, for me, I was thinking, the cost of healing, sometimes we have to realize that we don't have the tools for the job, right? Like if healing was agriculture, right? There are certain tools that you need. You have to have the seeds, you have to have the soil, you have to have the land, right? So all of those things cost, but a lot of times when it comes to healing, we haven't done the work to understand where we fell short and why we need to heal.
Yep.
Right.
And then we have to look at the aspect of, do I have the tools necessary to heal? right? Do I know enough about myself? Do I know enough about the situation? Were there blind spots that I didn't even pay attention to that were readily available to me? You know, and that's oftentimes where we need others to enlighten us or to show us, you know, what we're missing in order to do that. And there's a cost to that because there's a vulnerability of being able to talk to someone and say, hey, I don't have the tools necessary to get to the place that I want to get to. So what do I do from here?
I think I go back to what you said and like just like having the ability to purchase it. I think like you don't know what the cost is.
Yeah.
So I think it's easy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, let's take the analogy all the way there. Like, you know what I mean? If it's a store, like, okay, cool. I'm gonna go to Healing Depot, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm gonna purchase Healing. Like, I'm gonna get the biggest batch because I need it,
Right.
And they say, oh, the price tag says you got to give up this person that you're connected to,
Right.
that you have a toxic connection to.
Right.
They're like, if you truly want this, you got to
It's gonna
pay for
cost
it with this.
Right.
Right.
Are you willing to pay for it now? Are you willing to pay for it if they say you got to give up this habit of yours?
Right.
That's
Right.
really standing in the way. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
when you really look at the price tag, are you really ready?
Right.
That's what came to my mind when y'all was talking.
Yeah, because it's like that habit is what is blocking the healing.
Right.
Right.
So if you don't give this up, the healing will never be there. You know what I
Right.
mean? So it just made me think about that when you were talking about
I'll
that.
take it a little bit further. I won't say the healing wouldn't be there. I'll say the healing can't be complete.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the only reason I say that is because, like, what happens is, like, some people that have these habits, right, you'll heal in between. So, and that's what people do. They'll, because you're healing in between, you're like, oh, it's not as bad. And that's why people won't pay the cost.
That's
Because it's
true.
like, I keep healing. I keep, you know, I go a little bit and then I fall back. I always fall back on
That's
this thing.
mad true.
So-
it's like layaway almost.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like you like sampling the
Right.
healing.
Yeah.
Like you think
You
you got
renting
it.
it. That's lease.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But it's like the final payment, like you're gonna have to really give
Right.
it up.
Yeah.
And it's like no matter how close you get to it and how many times you test drove that, like it's like you can't really get it till you fully give that up.
Yep.
Right.
And then the reality part of it, we're just going to keep with the whole analogy of like leasing something, is you're going to end up paying more than if you would have just gave it up in the first place.
Yeah.
It's heavy. I don't like paying more.
But it sucks
that's a pet
because
peeve.
we look at it as, because I agree with that analogy, but as we stated before, I can't afford to give it all up at once.
Yeah.
Leasing might be my better option.
I'm too used to it. I'm too used to it the way it is. Like
Or it could be that you don't have the capacity to do it.
Yeah.
Right? Like if I'm all the way down and I'm hurting and I get 10% better, 10% better might feel so much better than being
Right.
at zero.
Yes.
I'm good with that.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
But you don't know what 20, 30, and 40% feel like. Or even if you get there,
tougher and
like
tougher.
what happens when you get to like 80% of healed, right?
Yeah.
80% feels so much better, but it's like that 20% that you don't know can really take you over the top.
Yeah.
It could lead you to abundance. It could lead you to a space that you're not even
Right.
aware of.
Right.
Right. But I stop at the 80% because that's good enough.
Yep.
I feel good.
It's so
Yep.
much better than where I was. I'm not going to give it 100% because, you know.
And what if your cost say is like giving up drugs? Mm-hmm. Like everybody ain't cold turkey.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah.
Not
So
at
how
all.
you gonna tell them? I mean, some people it's so what their cost is so deep into their system
Yep.
that you can't just turn it off that quick.
Yep.
Right.
So like okay, a little bit. Let me go a day without it.
Yep.
Let me go 2 days without
Yep.
it. Let me go 3 days. Like, okay, I only do it once a week. Like, you know what I mean? Bit
Right.
by bit, but it's like, it's still lingering.
It's still progression though.
Sure.
Yeah, that's why.
Is
And that's the grace.
Yes.
So shout out to everybody. Don't
Yep.
think that we're coming from a high and mighty place of being like, well, it's easier to just pay the cost and get out of here. Like, no.
Yeah.
So we understand that. Like, you
sure.
know what I mean? Like,
Stages to it.
yeah, for sure.
Well, yeah, realistically, like you might, to your point, you might not have it all at the same time. But I think I think even that is a part of the cost. So like, all right, if you can pay it all cold turkey, cool. But you also have to replace it with something. Because like if I understand like, all right, cool, I need X amount of dollars or I need X amount to get what I need and I have to sacrifice something to get it. I also have to figure out how I'm going to do whatever I was doing with the part I sacrificed. Like how do I fill that part in? Because all right, cool. Like now, say if it's the drug analogy, you're taking drugs, you have time. What do you do with that spare time to take your mind off of
Yep.
what you normally do?
I talk about positive distractions.
Yep.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or, I mean, I remember I said a long time ago on social media, I was like, what if what you're addicted to isn't drugs?
Right.
You know what I mean?
I think it's video games. I ain't gonna
I
lie.
was gonna say some people overwork, some people go to the gym too much, some people, you know what I mean? Like it could be anything. Like if you're lacking moderation,
Yeah.
Right.
So you know, like I think it's like good to like try to develop balance while you're in the process of healing.
Like that.
So to your point about tools, you know, try to acquire some tools while you're in this healing depot type of place. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I like
See the things that's on sale.
Right.
You know, we're coming up on, you know, Mental Health Awareness Month and all that stuff, and that's big on, you know, people dealing with their past and trauma.
Right.
That's a heavy price to pay, to have to dig into the past hurts and the things that you've been through. And some people are scared to dig into that. They have a false sense of healing. Like, I just want to bury that so that I feel healed. You know what I mean?
Some people found their survival in denial and not having to tackle the things of the past.
That's a bar.
You know, so having to delve into all this stuff that, like, you know, like I can say honestly, not having the easiest times growing up. Like some of the things I didn't realize, but like I kind of like I've blacked them out.
Yes.
Like parts of my childhood, as far as like, you know, like there's certain years of my life that like I know a lot of memories were made. But they're kind of like locked because there was a lot of things that happened.
Yeah, me too.
That like I don't revisit. So then it's like, oh, somebody will talk to me about like a week or a month and be like, oh, remember this in high school and da-da-da. And I'll be like, oh. And then it goes, and then I remember the whole week. And I remember not when I was at school, but I remember when I went home. And I remember this.
Right,
and I remember my neighborhood. And I remember, and I'm like, oh, okay. Like I forgot all that was still sitting somewhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I understand what people struggle with as far as like not wanting to go back there.
And two, when it comes to healing, we have to understand that not all healing is going to look the same.
Right.
Like the four of us could have the same injury, but we're gonna heal differently.
That's
from
good.
that. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So even though I may have overcome something, I have to allow you to heal in your own way. I might be able to advise you to an extent, but my hurt and your hurt aren't going to be the same. The things I've experienced and the things I've lived through and the things you've lived through are completely different. So we have to give grace for the people who are on their own journey, as long as they're willing to take on the cost to try to get better and improve.
Yeah,
which I believe is always worth it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I can remember earlier in my Christian walk, I was totally guilty of not giving people that grace. I was like, you know, I used to smoke, and God, I stopped right away. You can do it too.
If he did it for me, he could do it for you.
And I think
cut and dry.
Yeah, straight cut and dry. Like to the point where I was like, "Oh, you still smoking? You ain't even met God. Like, just be honest."
Heard
you know what I mean?
got you.
Like but that's what I was taught. You know what I'm
I
saying?
get it.
So, but then I had to come to realize, like, hold up, I got a whole bunch of things that I still have that y'all don't see. You know what I'm
that
saying?
may not be your thing. Like your struggle may be different than their struggle.
Right.
Like you may need, and I mean now we're gonna turn the word healing to deliverance or whatever. But you may need to be delivered from something else.
Exactly.
And I mean, for me, I think, but I guess maybe because I'm empathetic to that, even though I didn't have a smoking history.
Yeah.
I always said, like, what if my thing was as tangible as a cigarette? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, bro, I walk from my car and I sit on my phone the whole time.
Right.
Barely even watching the road. Like, really absent-minded, almost like a child. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you just like, let me get my last text before I go and da-da-da-da.
Right.
And it's like, okay, it's kind of my thing. That's not a good thing.
Right.
But it's my thing. But I'm doing that right before I walk in to get my last message out. So is that the same as somebody like being like they walk from their car and they smoke a quick cigarette on the way in the church? Like it's like I have to be able to understand from some level and be like, yeah, we both got to chill.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's important to be humble. So like it's one of those things that not everyone in the church teaches. Like the the Bible talks about he that humbles himself, God will exalt. He that exalts himself, God will humble. So basically, like if you puff yourself up, God's going to sit you down.
Oh yeah.
And if you sit yourself down, God will stand you up. And just letting God be the one that kind of maneuvers the people, like positions. And it's I think it's hard for some. I never really had that problem because I came from humble beginnings. Like I remember people talking. I remember like the conversations. I remember how I felt. So a lot of stuff, like I'm like, all right, people were like, oh yeah, you can get delivered. And that's true, but it's not everybody's story. It's not everybody's testimony. Right. Some people have to walk it out. The Bible talks about long suffering. We keep bringing it up every episode.
Yeah.
We're past 3 episodes, but
sure.
it's a part of it. Like Paul prayed so that God would take a thorn out his side, and God said, "My grace is sufficient for you." He told him no. He said, "Nah."
Yep.
That's to remind you. That's to help you. And some people need that reminder. Some people, like I've been a supervisor at a job before. Some people are cool. You can just tell them what to do. You're good. Like they're good. I'm good. Cool. And other people, you got to remind them a little more often. You got to keep up on them. Hey, did you remember to do X, Y, and Z? Blah 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 blah. I don't like micromanaging, so it's not for me. However, some people that helps a lot. It helps them to stay focused.
I mean, y'all know because y'all have multiple children. Like all kids are different.
Right.
So you know what I mean? Like just because it's the same structure in the household, like you know what I mean? Like it does not mean that everyone doesn't have different learning styles and or different ways to be handled on a day to day.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's similar to what you're saying. You know what I mean? Like it's like in your analogy about work, like all employees, like all of us are children of God. Like he has to know what way works for you.
Yeah.
Right.
Myself, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like myself, yourself, you know what I'm saying? Like we just got to be spoken to in our language.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, if we take the analogy of the smoking, like his healing power worked for you in that regard.
Yes.
To show you how many other things he can remove for you. But someone else, he's probably working on their determination, their stick-to-itiveness, their work ethic, and them meeting him halfway and having to, like, you know, do things themselves and have to, like, step up to the plate and meet and not just only get it, like, taken away from them because maybe he's given so much grace in so many other regards where, like, they're like, oh, everything just comes off easy.
Right.
I think listening to you talk, it gave me insight on why I had that mentality, because God didn't take it away from me.
I put it down.
I put it down, but I wanted to do it every day. So I had the mentality that I did it and not God.
Okay.
But he actually did do it, but he gave me the power to overcome the temptation.
Yeah.
Right? The problem in the church today is that we make everything cookie cutter healing.
Right.
You do this, God is going to do that. You do this, God is going to do that. And that is one of the biggest lies in Christianity.
Yeah.
That God is going to heal no matter what the circumstances is. Just because you walk through them doors, he has to do this. That's a lie. God can do whatever he wants to. If he never heals you, he's still God anyway, right? But my mentality was, I put it down, so therefore y'all can put it down. And that was the wrong mentality to have.
I mean, you was given a tool, like I hate to say it, but like you know, like I look at it almost like Karate Kid. Like I look at it like Miyagi.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Wax
like you
on,
don't
wax
know.
off.
You just you're being obedient.
Yep.
You don't know, but you're just doing it. And then like out of nowhere, you find out what this move
What
Really
it does.
means.
Right.
So you're given this power and strength to be able to put it down. And now you think you did it, but not realizing he gave you the strength to do the move.
Love it.
He gave you the tools.
Exactly.
I like
That's
that.
what you said about the tool.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I'm up here judging everybody. You can do it because, I mean, he did do it for me. But I think the cost of healing, now that I think about it, discipline might be the foundation of it. Right? Because if we're not disciplined, how could we ever find healing, right? It's tough because I think we got to be consistent, disciplined, and all these things, because if not, because it's like the thing, you're going back and forth. I think we got to just keep progressing
So
and
many
being
words, though.
disciplined.
I mean, discernment.
Yep.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? There's a lot of things that come with healing.
Yeah,
Right.
And I mean, like,
absolutely.
I think it's like, it's utilizing what you've been through to make sure it doesn't happen again.
I'm gonna take in a little bit of a different direction because you said that there's so many things that come with healing. What about when healing comes with more hurt? right? When you have to delve into something so deeply that you've either blocked out or it's painful for you to move on from, so that the fact that you have to face those things that you've kind of run from or turned your back on, and you actually have to like look for the root cause of the issue and start to delve into that, it just causes more hurt. How do we deal with things when we've turned our back or we've turned away from it because it's so painful, when we actually have to turn around and face the fear or face the hurt, which causes more hurt?
Yeah, that's definitely that it gets worse before it gets better type thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I think things that are worth it, you kind of have to go through. There's some stuff that so like my grandmother always had this prayer. She said, "Lord, take me through." Because it's one thing to go around something. It's one thing to run from something. But if you can go through it, you'll come back stronger. You'll come back with more intellect. Like everything will progress. However, Lord, take me with you through it. And understanding that he walks with you, like Psalms 23. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. So like understanding that he's able to do it. But to your point, it's frightening. Because who wants to think about all the worst things that you've been through in your life and all the things that you blocked out. And there's so many days. There's 365 days in a year. However old you are, however the age you are, times that. Like there's I would say the paralyzation of how much, or like just feeling overwhelmed of how many things have happened to you and stuff like that. But take it day by day with God. Take it in prayer. I would say the Bible talks about seeking wise counsel. Find people that you can speak to. Find people that you can, that will pour life into you. Just because going through and replaying some of those memories are going to be difficult. I think it's worth it in the end, but in the beginning, it's going to hurt. Like, it's going to be a lot of pain. It's going to be a lot of resurfacing. It's going to be a lot of seeing things that you tried to put to the back of your mind so you didn't have to think about it. But it's also relieving or releasing stuff, because when you release those things, you'll find out that maybe you're happier. Maybe you can see a little bit more joy in the world. Maybe you can experience things and have joy.
Yeah.
And that makes me think about like even seeking out wise counsel. Sometimes the wise counsel is professional counsel.
Yes.
Right. Like there's nothing wrong. We've talked about therapy on the pod before. There's nothing wrong with talking to someone whose expertise is walking people through what you're dealing with in any given moment. There's grief counselors, there's loss counselors, there's marriage counselors, there's relationship counselors, right? So their specialty is dealing and walking people through different types of trauma, no matter what that is. So, sometimes those are the places where you get the tools from. Like we all have gone through school to some degree, right? There was always a teacher in the classroom. They didn't just send us to school so we would learn from the other students or we would teach ourselves there. There was always a leader or a guide who had information that we didn't have, that was able to facilitate to us in a way that we can understand, so that we can gain knowledge from it. Right? So that's always a possibility as far as healing as well. But you have to be honest, when you go into those spaces, there's also the cost of vulnerability. Like if I go talk to a therapist and I'm not honest with her and I'm not really sharing what the real issue is, how can I get the help? How can I truly heal?
Right.
It's like you going in and you're only giving 50%. You're only going to heal 50%.
Right. But I think a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll take that 50% and then they'll turn it back on the counselor. Like, I came out to you and I spoke to you, but I didn't get healed all the way. The truth of the matter is you didn't give it all to them. Same thing with God. Like a lot of times we try to leave certain things out with God, even though he knows it all. We'll try to, I want you to heal this part. I don't really touch this part, but this part I'm concerned with. And then when he doesn't heal the way that we want him to heal, we feel some type of way. Like, why'd you even come over here? Everything was good over here. You came over here, you just started messing with stuff.
But see, that ain't how it works.
That's right. That's right.
And I mean, like, so many things are connected. And like, I mean, like you're saying, like, you're trying to compartmentalize. Be like, yo, God, fix this area. And he's like, that's cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like you want me to fix the branch, but I'm talking about the root.
I gotta get to the
Exactly.
root.
Exactly.
Right.
There's some more in there, and if I heal this part, the whole tree will flourish. You'll see it in the end. But this
They're
is
like, nah, but the root, like now you gotta unpack all the stuff
Yeah.
in your past you ain't want to get
Yeah.
into. Now you gotta like evaluate how you like the friends you let around you,
And
the
that's what I was
relationships
thinking
you
about.
wanna retain, the this, the that, like your standards and all these things. And it's like, but you just like, no, God, just fix my outcome. It's like, no,
Right.
I'm gonna fix what you put into it.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And then the outcome will work handle itself.
And then even to go deeper into what you said, like sometimes you want us to fix the branches and the branches are seen, but the roots are not seen.
Yep.
Right? So you
Right.
got to delve into the things that you don't want to hear.
Yes,
that,
sir.
Like you might have some shame or some disappointment or it might be a trauma base from that. But those
Right.
are the things that you shield from the world and you don't put that on social media, right? 'Cause
Right.
You're feeling so many things and you're keeping them hidden. But
Can't hide
that's
from God.
you only know a tree by the fruit it bears, right?
Yeah.
And the tree is only going to be as strong
Yes,
as its
that's
roots.
good.
Yep.
Right? So if we don't delve into the roots, we're never going to start to heal.
Yes, sir.
It's tough, right? Because when you talk about healing, bringing hurt, and when you talked about people that you have to cut off, I think that's a hard part of healing. That's gonna hurt because in your journey, there's gonna be people you literally just have to cut off,
Right.
and that can hurt a lot because you actually love these people. You know
Sure.
what I mean? But then I love that you talked about vulnerability because it made me think about when someone has to get an operation. They put you to sleep
Yeah.
and you are completely vulnerable and you're trusting
Yes.
that this person is going to do what they're supposed to do so that you can heal, whatever the case may be.
Sure.
Right.
Absolutely.
And they have to numb you sometimes. Like it just makes
Yeah.
me think about all these things.
Right.
And are we allowing God to operate on us?
That's-
Are we
that's a
on the
good question.
table?
Okay, there it is. Collection plate.
Yeah. It made me think, yeah, like, are we trying to wake up in the middle of the operation and try to stop the process?
Don't
try
fight it.
Nah, we try to ask for medication. Nah, I don't need surgery.
Yeah.
I don't need surgery. There's another option. I looked it up. I saw this.
Yep.
If you
Yeah.
just do this, I'll be good. Like that's really what people do. But speaking towards relationships, like yes, some relationships you got to cut off at the root. But there's other relationships. My grandmother, she also plants, and what I realize is what she'll
know
do
where
is
you're going.
she'll cut off a piece of the branch so that the branch can grow stronger.
Yeah.
And that means like what I'm saying is basically some relationships God might not have to sever at the root. He might just have to sever it a little bit far back. So we might have like a portion of time or some space in between us where like we don't meet, but the bond is able to grow stronger because of it.
Yeah.
Like just because God's looking at like, yeah, you gave a little bit too much trust to so and so. You gave a little bit too much of your too much of you to that person, or maybe you gave a little bit too much that I didn't want you to quite give them that, but I do like where you're going. So let me cut
Reassess
this
the
back,
boundary.
right?
Yeah.
Cut this back just a little bit,
Pruning.
right? Exactly.
Pruning.
You know
Right.
what I was thinking about as I was talking about the surgery? Before you get the surgery, though, they always come to you with
An assessment.
the potential risks, though.
No.
That's good.
Hey,
Okay.
when
Off the plate.
you're about to get this operation, but there's a chance you might not wake up. Think about that.
Right.
That could happen on a healing journey. You know what I mean? The chances
It
of
may not
us,
go your way.
it might not go your way.
A lot of times it goes that way.
So you have to want the healing enough to risk it not working.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And even too, to go further into that analogy, man, if you've had surgery before, you know there's an attention to detail, right? I've had surgery on my knees, so they come in and they're like, "So, Mr. White, what are we doing today?" Like, "Oh, I need you to fix my ACL." He's like, "Which leg is that?" "Oh, okay, the right leg. Okay, so we're gonna mark because you're gonna be asleep. We can't ask you again, right? So you want to make sure it's the right leg, right? So the attention to detail, even though they're professionals and they know what they're doing, they're still gonna consult with you and make sure, hey, the attention to detail. We're doing the right leg, right? We don't want to take something that's working,
Yeah.
Right.
and remove that. We want to make sure that we're focusing on the thing that's really the hurt, right? We need to make sure that we're focusing on the thing that really needs to heal. And there's an attention to detail that comes along with that.
That's
That a lot
back
of
to
people.
telling the truth.
Yep.
Right.
Because what if you're lying to the person that's supposed to help you heal?
Yeah.
How can they take care of the right things if you're not saying what's really wrong with you?
Yeah, yeah. cooking right now.
Oh, man, I'm telling you.
So
But even to your point about when you was talking about your grandmother with the gardening,
Yeah.
I was gonna say about environment. Sometimes you have to repot.
Yes. That's good.
it don't belong here.
Right.
Like you outgrew this.
Or,
you want to
yeah, you
heal, but there's
outgrew
not
it.
even space for you to heal here.
Right.
We got to put you in a place where, in an environment where you can.
Yeah, yeah,
Bro.
absolutely, absolutely. Even delving into that a little bit deeper. If you grow the same crop in the same area, there's no more nutrients in the ground
For that.
right? So we have to move the crop to a new area so we
Yeah.
can get nutrients from the ground in a fresh area, and then we have to start to replenish what was over here. We got to decompose. We got to, put compost. We got to start
Yeah.
to replenish the land.
Yo, you know what's even dope? Because when you get into the agriculture, the Bible talks about grafting in. And what happens is, what grafting in is, I can literally take a branch off an apple tree, cut it off,
And plant it.
and tie it to an orange tree. Graft it on the branch. It becomes one with it, and it will produce the apple connected to an orange tree. That's in the Bible. That's why the Bible talks about us being grafted into.
I definitely got to look.
Bro,
that one up.
there's a guy
I didn't-
if you look it on YouTube, there's a guy that got about 20 different fruits on one tree.
Oh wow.
It's crazy because he took
Okay.
branches from different ones, and you can just plug them in and tie them up, and then
Yo,
they ended up
put that
being.
in the chat.
Okay.
I've heard about the
It's crazy. It's
concept.
called grafting,
Or I've
yeah.
seen the concept before, I think. But I never knew what it was.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I did a study on it because I love trees, and the Bible talks about grafting, and I researched it, and I'm like, oh, this is what it means to be grafted. It's in
Man,
Book of
this
Romans.
is dope, and I think we've got to a place where we're taking it so many different directions, and I think we're getting a lot of good information from one another. But I think we're gonna cut it off right here.
Yeah.
We're gonna delve into it and continue on topic
Part two.
part 2.
Let's do it.
So, as we always say on this pod, keep building.
Keep building.
I'm working on the beat.